All right, welcome to my build video for the USS Enterprise 1701 1000 scale being put out by Polar Lights. This is the version of the kit that is based upon the Enterprise as it was seen in Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Now, in this video, we're going to get the ship to this point where it is painted in its base coat. It has all of its clear parts painted. It is assembled and it is lit. So this will be the end result of our video. And in the video after this, we will get the model finished with a little bit more detailing, cleaning up a few more seams, and decaling the ship. But to get to this point, we had to start off with the bare kit. So let's go back in time, probably about 10 days ago, and see the start of the build. Now, since I'll be lighting the ship, the logical place to start is simply by light blocking the interior. I'm going to use black paint, then I'll be using white paint on top of it. You can do white, you can do silver. I feel that white makes it overall brighter inside. And I feel that when there's a white interior behind those clear blue and clear red parts, it helps kind of preserve that color and makes those colors a little bit brighter. So I'm going to do black, then white to block the light, and then we'll start installing some LEDs. Now, what I'm doing on this kit isn't something you can do on all kits. I'm going to be pre-painting the base color before I do the assembly. It's really going to save me some time when it comes to masking windows. And this kit is really laid out so that the windows are pretty far away from the seams. So it'll be easy to clean up this seam without affecting any of these windows. It's going to save me a lot of time in masking, and it's going to give me a very nice looking ship. My base coat color is going to be Tamiya Chrome Silver. This is becoming one of those builds where I'm just doing so much before I glue anything together. But most of my main parts are now in silver, light blocked on the inside with a nice white coating. I've gone ahead and the clear parts that are supposed to be blue have been tinted blue. I've gone ahead and I've started light blocking things like the clear part for the shuttle bay. Of course, this is a part where it's in clear so that you can light up things like the landing lights. So I really only want to do some real basic light blocking here to start, just with some silver on the inside of the dome. We're going to leave the rest of it clear for now. The clear part that hangs down the bottom of the dome, if you just leave it perfectly clear, you'll just have people looking through that dome into just a hollow shell of a ship. So I went ahead and I frosted it. You can see here it is nicely frosted. And the way I do it is I use a product called Tamiya Flat Base. And Tamiya Flat Base is actually meant to be an additive that you add to gloss paints to change it from gloss to flat. It's a very powdery, grainy, white substance, and I mix it heavily with Tamiya Clear. So I have a lot of flat base in it, and when you spray it, it does this. It kind of gives you that kind of dusted white look, and that will kind of opaque it a little bit while still letting light shine through. Looking at the top of the saucer, you get one clear part for all of this. Same thing as on the bottom. I don't want you staring in just to a empty space, so you have to frost the clear part here. Frosted a little bit here because you don't want people seeing in. There's going to be a nice decal. You do want it to be clear throughout most of it. But then this actual floor, you want that to be light blocked. The walls here, those need to be light blocked as well. So this clear part has a combination of light blocking paint. It's left clear here in the middle for that light, and it is frosted up on top. So just like always, black paint, then white paint on the inside for the light blocking. That Tamiya flat base added to some clear to make that kind of frosted substance, and then left clear on the other parts. I have gone ahead, since I'm using my own lighting, I've clipped off a lot of the LED holders. I think those LED holders are a fantastic thing to have if you are using the official lighting kit or if you're using LED bulbs the same size. However, I'm going to be using LED strips in here, so I went ahead and I removed those. And after all that work, I'm finally going to start installing some parts and gluing things together. I'm going to be taking all of these clear parts off the sprue. I'm going to install those in our silver parts. This kit, once again, has very, very nicely molded windows, very nicely molded clear parts to catch all the light. But there are definitely a lot of them, so I'm going to take some time, install all of these clear window inserts. I'll be back right after that. All right, just a quick note. I am not sure if some of the clear parts are labeled correctly. I felt like as I was installing most of these, on the instructions they were mislabeled and I had to swap what sides they were on. All right, taking a closer look at these parts. So I did clip this part of the sprue off so that I could easily paint those clear parts. But you can see, lining it up again, this part is 113, this part is 120. So let's take part 120 off. And here is our saucer. And as you can see, it does not line up even where it is stamped for 120. That part does not line up. Switch it to the other side where we have 113 stamped. And it's going to line up perfectly on that side. So 113 and 120 are swapped. Also along the back, 117 and 118 had to be swapped. Another thing you have to do to this piece before you install it is you actually have to apply some decals. So these decals will represent the whole paneling that you have to put in before it can be under the saucer top. There's also this tiny decal that is a picture of the bridge to be seen through the window. So we'll go ahead and we'll decal it and see what it looks like. For the lighting on the ship, I am just doing LED strips along one of the nacelle. That will light up these blue parts on the inboard side of the nacelle. It'll also cast enough light to light up these kind of blue vents that are around the side. And it should light up these openings that light the registry. I've also soldered onto the LED strip a single 5mm LED that's going to light up the front of the nacelle. Now, on one of my last builds of this model kit, or the previous version, I did skip kind of the motor housing. And I just painted the most outer shell red, put a little diffusing material behind it, and that's what I did on my Excalibur build. On this one, I am going to use all the parts. So the model kit has a piece like this. This is actually a motor housing. If you want a spinning part in the nacelle, you can put a small DC motor right in that housing and attach to the motor spindle this fan assembly, which will then be able to spin within it. And if you get the official lighting kit that Polar Lights has put out, it comes with motors that do that for you. In this case, I'm just going to be using these parts for the detail so that when you look behind that outer shell, there is something behind it that you can see. Just a little bit of added detail there. So I'm going to go ahead and thread my LED through the housing. And I will be gluing it directly to this front of the housing so that you'll just have kind of something behind that empty shell for the nacelle. Now you can actually install the nacelle to just one half of the pylon to make running the wires a little bit easier. So I've applied a large amount of glue. I'm going to start just inserting it here. Make sure the wires are in the right place on the other side, and we'll get a good tight fit. With that half of the pylon attached, you'll be able to neatly arrange your wires in the nice channel provided in the kit. There we go. And then attach the other half of the pylon. One quick note to do it this way. I did trim the 3 locator pins that go in these top parts. I still have the locator pins for the bottom 3. I'll apply glue to all of these seams, and I'll apply some glue up here to the mating surface. But that way I can kind of insert this tightly up on top and then close it down below to get that good tight fit. I'm using 2 different types of glue on this build. Anywhere that I'm comfortable cleaning up the seam after gluing, I'm using a solvent glue. So, for example, these nacelles, it's very easy right here just to clean up this seam after you glue it. If you feel you need to putty any of it, you can putty it at this time. Bottom seam, same thing. You can just clean it up with a little bit of sandpaper. Up here, the glue pushed out a lot of extra paint. So we'll just clean it up with a little bit of sandpaper. The seam is so far away from the clear parts, it should be pretty easy just to airbrush the seam. Looks pretty good. I do see a part there where we'll have to add a little bit of putty. Now, in places where it would be harder to clean up seams, like around this one for the pylon attaching to the main hull, where you'd have to mask off all those little windows nearby, I'm not going to use a solvent. I'll just use a typical super glue. I'll just apply a fair amount of super glue to the slot that these tabs are going to be attaching to, and then tightly hold it for a moment. Our engineering hull will have an LED strip pointed up to light most of the engineering hull. It should also light a bit of the neck. We also have a single LED coming off of that LED strip that is lighting up our clear part for the shuttle bay navigation lights and the landing lights. I'll be joining all 3 of those wires together before I close up the ship. So we'll just kind of get these close here. We'll strip the wires, then we'll connect them. All right, so I've gone ahead and connected all of our reds together, all of our blacks together. Now, in addition to these 3 sets for the nacelle, the engineering hull, and the other nacelle, we need 2 more wires here. 1 to go out the bottom of the ship to connect to the stand, and 1 to go up to the saucer for the saucer lights. All right, we will do a quick test of the lights. All right, that looks pretty good. So we have our port nacelle, starboard nacelle. Yep, we've got the LEDs for the fronts of both of those. And yeah, great lights for the engineering hull. Looks like the neck is going to look pretty good. All right, just kind of squeezing it shut right now. You can see there's a nice hole here that'll go up to the saucer for our wire connector there. This one, we will feed down this hole in just a moment. And it looks like that'll close up pretty well. The engineering hull is glued together. That means it's time to do our final piece of major assembly. And that will be installing the saucer, or at least the bottom of the saucer to start. So we'll feed our wires up. Once again, you know, this is a place where I don't really want to mess around with the seam a bit, so we will use super glue and push that together pretty tightly. Our top saucer has a ring of LEDs here, So our next step will just be to take the wires from those LEDs to the wires we have coming up through the neck, join those together right here, and we'll close up the top of the saucer. It's time to move on to some of the smaller parts of the build. Starting with this is the inner dome for the front nacelle end caps. So I've decided just to kind of paint it with some colors, kind of harkening back to the TOS Enterprise, some greens, some yellows. I have a little bit of smoke there. This is all going to be behind the red tinted dome, so you won't see the colors as much, but it will be good just so you can see there's something behind it and it's not hollow. These are the domes we'll be tinting red to be the very front of those nacelle end caps. The housing for our deflector dish is going to be done in a chrome silver. The deflector dish itself we will do in Titan gold. These are the rear end caps for the nacelle. I've gone ahead and sprayed them with clear blue. Those little vents on the back need to glow blue, so I've gone ahead and masked a lot of them off. Next we'll be spraying these with silver to light block it as much as we can. And personally, I don't really like this part of the design of the ship. I know it is accurate to the Enterprise in the Pike era, as seen in The Cage and Strange New Worlds, but I think it looks too much like exhaust. That's why they moved away from it when they made the production of Star Trek, and they added those the white balls that you know on the TOS Enterprise. It keeps from looking like a rocket engine with thrust coming out the back to make it something appropriately sci-fi. So I like kind of those white balls that you see on the TOS Enterprise or on the Galileo 7 more than this exhaust venting detail. But it's what is accurate to the ship in Strange New Worlds, so that's what we have. All right, here is the USS Enterprise 1701 from Strange New Worlds. Let's call it 90% built. And right now I'm going to go ahead and add on those front end caps, back end caps for the nacelle, and the deflector dish assembly. I do like how these little nacelle end caps look with that inner dome. And let's go ahead and snap this piece on. All right, we're going to go to put this nacelle end cap on. It just has these little tabs on both sides. And if you just press those in, you can slot it in on that nacelle. Now, as I'm not gluing these end caps in yet, I do expect there to be some light leaks around the edges. All right, here is the ship powered up. Let's take a look at it. Okay, that is the front end cap for our nacelle. I like that a lot. I like having kind of that inner dome behind it. You could just kind of make out the detailing in it with those different kind of slices around it being lit with those different colors. There is our other one. There's a good shot at the warp nacelle along the back, that inner side of it lighting up very nicely. And there is one of our rear end caps for the nacelle, our impulse engines, and a nice little part of the kit, that clear shuttle bay. I masked it off right there so that we'll have kind of a lit part on the back of that fantail. And we'll also have some lit up landing stripes there. Also along the nacelle, you can see these two lights here. Those are the lights that in the show kind of light up the registry. So you can see those light up very well. And here you see the blue lights kind of right here. And so, of course, we didn't use individual LEDs for all of those. The kit parts are catching the lights from my LED strips and directing it to all those parts. So it's just that single LED strip that's lighting up the inboard side of the nacelle, lighting up these little lights, and lighting up these blue ones. And it's casting enough light to light up that rear end cap as well. Of course, we have that forward-facing 5mm LED to light up the red front end caps of the nacelle, and it's a very nice effect. Very simple to do lighting, and it looks good. Let's get a look at the ship overall. You can see those engineering hull lights light up very, very well. Once again, single LED strip lighting those up, also lighting up the neck. So you don't have to go crazy with the lighting. Put some lights inside a kit like this. Leave a lot of open space for that light to kind of spread itself evenly throughout, and it's going to look good. Here is our saucer. You can see these lights are the ones that kind of really shine out on the registry on the bottom of the saucer. That looks really good. And of course here, because I have frosted that, you're not looking into the ship. So very happy with that lighting. I like this lighting here that would shine out on the big name of the ship. Now I did of course frost that top dome so you're not looking into a hollow ship. And I have no idea if we're going to be able to zoom in on that little bridge decal. That's probably the best I can do to get to that bridge dome. But you can see there is that decal right there to show the interior of the bridge. And of course we do have all of those lights along the rim of the saucer. I see a few light leaks off to clean up along those seams. But you can see those are what is accurate to what's on the ship. Oh, I like this view. I like this a lot. You can see the blue warp nacelles. You can see the deflector dish. Yeah, that's a good shot to show pretty much all the lighting for this kit. And it's a good looking ship. All right, let's bring over my other version of the kit. Now on this one, I did use a 3D printed bridge. So I did not frost the top of it, but in this case, you're looking down onto something on this one. On this one, I did not use the interior parts for the nacelle end cap. I just kind of took some cotton and kind of airbrushed it right and put it behind that end cap. So you can see a different kind of effect there. By and large, most of the lighting was the same. Now, of course, this ship does have all of its paneling detail on it. I did this one with masks from Aztec Dummy. And I think it's a great looking effect. I love the detail on it. All right, so what are my main takeaways from reviewing this kit right now? First of all, much like its predecessor, the USS Enterprise from Star Trek Discovery, it is a fantastic kit. It is very, very easy to build. It is very, very easy to light, and it looks good. A big part of that is the fact that the ship design is such a cool ship. But the model makers did a great job giving you a lot of clear parts to make it very, very easy to light. Here, remember, this ship right now is half finished. We still have to add all of that detailing to the paneling. We have to add the registries, the pennants. So we're going to bring out a lot in this kit by the time we're done. But hopefully this video showed you how it builds together, a couple ways you can make the build very, very easy on yourself. I mean, if you notice, I hardly masked off anything. I masked off the little divots on the back of the nacelle end caps. I masked off the 6 little squares for the impulse engine. The rest of it, I did not mask off any of the windows. I didn't mask off any of the clear parts like the bridge dome. I didn't mask off the engineering, the warp nacelle blue lights. I didn't mask any of those off. I simply painted its base coat before I installed the clear parts, and cleaning up the seams is very, very easy on this model kit. So I wasn't afraid to have my base coat down before assembly. I'm really glad the kit has fixed the inaccuracies that developed as they changed the ship between its appearances in the different shows. I think I answered this on Facebook, but if you have the old version of the kit, I don't know that it's worth going out and getting the new one just for kind of the more accurate windows and the more accurate bridge design. But if you don't have a version of the kit, definitely go out and get this. This is a fantastic size for a model. It's fantastic engineering. It's very fun to build. And the fun part's actually really coming up, where we're going to detail it to really bring the ship to life. So please stick with the channel. We will do some more videos as we're probably going to decal this with the official decals, but you can use paint masks like I did on my USS Excalibur. Whichever way you go, it ends up looking fantastic. We'll do some videos on Aztecing this with decals, and we'll do a full reveal of the ship after that. Once again, thank you guys for following the channel. I'll be back soon.